Thank you so much for joining me as I tell you my thoughts on that first big Nintendo Switch 2 Direct that we just recently had here in September. I know I'm a little late to the party. A lot of YouTubers have already talked about this, but I have my own thoughts and opinions, so I figured why not go ahead and share them on here. Now, right away, this Direct started off with the 40th anniversary of Super Mario. I thought that was cool. We're getting a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Super Mario Bros. Wonder. It's going to add in some multiplayer modes. That's cool. I think what really separates Super Mario Bros. Wonder from all the other 2D Mario games is that it is the best multiplayer experience available. So I think it's cool that it's getting some multiplayer content. They did say it will also add single player content, but I'm really hoping that they add at least 2 more worlds to make it justifiable for paying another $20 for this game, because honestly, I'm not a big fan of DLC that makes you pay more for something you already paid for. Then, I know they showed some other Mario 40th stuff. They introduced the Mario Galaxy movie. That's cool. And then they showed Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 are going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch 1 and 2. And the physical release will be on a Nintendo Switch 1 cartridge, but there will be updates when you're playing them on the Nintendo Switch 2. I believe I even heard that they're going to be implementing mouse controls, which was not announced at this Nintendo Direct. Now, that is really cool that we're getting these classic all-time great 3D Super Mario platformers, but I think most people online can agree that this collection of games, and even when they're sold individually, digitally, are a bit overpriced, because the physical copy is going to be $70 for Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, or you can get them digitally separately for $40 a piece. Now, honestly, as a big Nintendo fan, and I would even call myself a loyal Nintendo fan, I feel a little bit betrayed by this, because I already bought the Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection, which has Galaxy 1 on it. So now if I want to get Galaxy 2, I can pay $40 for the digital version, which I feel is overpriced, and I don't really like buying games digitally. I would like to have a physical copy. Or I could get the bundle for $70, paying for a game that I already own, and get Mario Galaxy 2, which I've actually never played, and I am really looking forward to playing. But when you really look at these Mario Galaxy games, I know a lot of people will say they're some of the greatest games of all time, and sure, I'll agree with you, but these games are already 3 generations old. When Nintendo had the Virtual Console and they sold their older games, they would sell them at budget prices because they already made their profit off of these games. So for them to try to sell this collection more than a regular full-price Switch game would go for at $60, I think it's pretty dang greedy. And then some other things that I just thought were overpriced at this Direct. The Virtual Boy headset for $100. That's cool for people who, want to play Virtual Boy. I just think it's pretty pricey for something that is tied to an online subscription service, because, maybe 15, 20 years from now, when you can't play Nintendo Switch Online on your Switch and Switch 2 anymore, that headset's going to be useless, right? And they did give a discounted option, the cardboard version of it, for $25. I think that's a bit expensive for cardboard. Another announcement that I was initially excited for, but, after, really processing my thoughts on it, I kind of didn't like it, was the DLC for Donkey Kong Bonanza. Now, I've gone on record saying that I think Donkey Kong Bonanza is a masterpiece. It's a phenomenal game. I didn't complete the game, but I did put in over 40 hours, beat the main story and everything. The post-game seems really tough, so I will have to get back to that. But having paid $70 for this game already, getting a $20 DLC, I would have expected it to offer a bit more. It is really cool that we're going to get to explore DK Island now, and I really thought about wanting this game to go to DK Island for like a sequel, but it looks like there's just going to be a bit of stuff to explore. Then you have this, I think it's called Emerald Rush challenge. It's like a time challenge. Basically looks like it's really just a couple hours worth of content. So to tack on $20 for a full price game that I already paid $70 for, I'm not really a fan of that either. I think it should have been included in the base game, or at the very least, this DLC should have only been $10. And going back to the Mario Galaxy situation, I have to say, the reason these games just feel so overpriced is because I know Nintendo can charge cheaper if they want, because if you look at a re-release or a remaster like Metroid Prime remastered for the Nintendo Switch, that game looked like completely reworked graphically. It looked way better. It had reworked controls, basically looked like a brand new game, and they only charged $40 for that release. Then you look at something like Pikmin 1 plus 2. You got two Pikmin games in HD, which I think some people say were the ports of the Wii versions, but they did clean up some things from the GameCube versions for only $50. So it definitely feels like Nintendo is just very confident right now because the Switch and the Switch games sold so well that they just want to charge as much as they can for anything. And I got to be honest and say, I don't like that at all, because it does create a barrier to entry, and it is going to deter more people from wanting to buy a Nintendo Switch 2. I think it's fine if you want to release these $70 and even $80 games that are brand new experiences, that's okay. But I think the remasters and re-releases should be the budget releases. And I don't think it would be a bad idea to still have Nintendo Switch remasters exclusives be $50. I think budget options would be good, but I guess this is becoming a hobby that's more for the well off. One other thing that I almost forgot to mention in this video is that $40 and $50 priced amiibo are absolutely ridiculous. Nintendo has lost their minds. And another thing about this direct that I didn't like, and I know a lot of people didn't like as well, was the fact that they're already showing you the DLC for Pokemon Legends ZA before the game is even out. The game is already going to be $70, and I think the DLC is going to be $20, so that's like $90 for the full experience. I don't know. Modern gaming is kind of ridiculous with the pricing, but there are a lot of good games coming out. So let's get to the good. I was really happy to see that the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to get Resident Evil Requiem, Resident Evil 9, day and date, same time as all the other consoles, PlayStation and Xbox. That is really cool. And it looks comparable, looks pretty comparable to the PS5 version. You can see it doesn't look as good, but it still looks pretty dang good. I think that's a really good thing. Really cool to see more Metroid Prime 4 get a release date on that. Really cool to get another release date. A release date for Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. Trying to think about what games was I really excited for at this Nintendo Direct. And I don't know why I didn't think of Fire Emblem right off the top of my head, because that was huge news to be getting a brand new Fire Emblem game set in the same world as Fire Emblem Three Houses. Anybody who really knows me and my channel here would know that Fire Emblem Three Houses is my #1 Nintendo Switch game of all time and one of my favorite games of all time, period. So to see a brand new entry set in that same world is awesome. I'm really excited for that. I gotta be honest though, I wasn't feeling the character designs as much as the designs that we got in Three Houses, but I'm sure I'll warm up to it, and that's definitely not going to stop me from enjoying the game. That new Pokocopia game, I think it's called, looks pretty cool. Looks like a cozy kind of Pokemon, Minecraft, Animal Crossing type game. I think that could be a big seller for Nintendo, and I believe that is going to be exclusive to the Nintendo Switch 2. I know one thing a lot of people had issues with about this Direct was the fact that they felt there wasn't any real big system sellers there, and I kind of agree to a certain extent, but I'm sure Nintendo has some stuff in the bag that they still haven't pulled out yet. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined or Remake, that looks cool. Something I would be interested in picking up as well. And the new Yoshi game, I have to say I'm really intrigued with the art style. I thought that looked really good. I think there was plenty of games coming both to the Nintendo Switch 1 and 2 at this Direct to keep you satisfied if you own either of these consoles. I don't know if there were really many games to sell you on these consoles if you don't already own one. I would imagine something like the new Fire Emblem could bring in maybe like at least another million Switch 2s sold, because Fire Emblem Three Houses sold around, what, 4 to 5 million. While that may not be a ton, I know a lot of people absolutely love that game, so I imagine that there are going to be some JRPG fans that are going to be picking up a Switch 2 just for Fire Emblem. In fact, I've already seen some people on Twitter saying that they're going to pick it up for that game. But those are my thoughts on this Direct. I thought it was a really solid Direct. I'd probably give it like a B- because Fire Emblem saved the show. I'm not happy with Nintendo's pricing, though. I just thought after all the backlash with the pricing about the $80 Mario Kart World that they would have kind of slowed down on all that a bit, but it looks like they're going full speed ahead, and this is their new strategy going forward. But anyway, I really appreciate you watching so much. Please drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already, and I will catch you on the next one.